Suhong only went to the Star City Martial Practitioner Association to take the assessment, get his certificate, and finally secure the benefits that came with becoming a real martial practitioner. But what should have been a simple test quickly turned into a scene no one could forget. The other practitioners looked down on him the moment they saw how young he was, but the moment the exam began, everything changed. After passing the vital blood test, Suhong stepped up to the combat power machine and held back on purpose, thinking too much power might cause trouble. Even then, his punch was so terrifying that the entire stand was ripped loose and sent flying into the wall, leaving everyone frozen in shock. A machine built to handle 3,000 combat power had just been blown away like scrap metal. That monstrous display immediately reached the ears of Wu Lingxian, the president of the Star City Martial Association. Curious about the genius who caused such chaos, she personally brought Suhong to her office. There, what looked like a simple meeting turned into something even more unbelievable. Wu introduced him to guiding techniques and then tested his natural attribute affinity with a crystal ball. What she expected was talent. What she saw was a miracle. Fire lit up to 100%, then thunder, then wind, and before long every single attribute reached the limit. In that moment, Suhong stopped being just a promising fighter and became a monster-level genius no one could ignore. But he wasn't always this strong. He used to train with his friend in a dojo, and his friend notices that there is something different about his skill. This is when Suhong reveals that he broke through to the Minute of Subtlety 2 days ago. When talking about the Minute of Subtlety, it is one of the martial mastery levels of this world, and the martial techniques are divided into 5 levels. The first is the beginner, the second is the Minute Subtlety, the third is the mastery, the fourth is the greater mastery, and the last one is the perfection. Suhong's friend is blown away by this, and he tells Suhong that he is basically untouchable among his peers when it comes to Vajra Fist. When Suhong's friend realizes that the dude is not getting tired from all the training they have done, he decides to back out, telling Suhong that he needs to go home because he is not a beast like him. On his way out, he runs into their teacher Li, who is there to look for Suhong. Li tells Suhong about the martial examination and the need to pay 30,000 yuan to register, with the deadline being next Monday. Suhong nervously asks the teacher if he can't give him a few more days, and the man admits that he knows all about Suhong's suffering. He's aware that his family is in a tight spot, but there is nothing he can do to help, since rules are rules. After the teacher is gone, Suhong continues training, and soon afterward, he is the only one left in the room. He is left thinking about his life so far. He remembers how his parents died when he was just 3 years old, and this is thanks to a ferocious beast disaster. Since then, Suhong has been living with his aunt and uncle. Apparently, after they discovered his martial talent, they decided to support his training with everything they had, since this era gives martial practitioners enough money to live the best life. Suhong is heartbroken that he is doing everything to become good at martial arts, but he only keeps making things worse. Later that night, Suhong arrives at the door of the house to hear his uncle and aunt talking about how hard things are. Apparently the rent is almost due, but they are ready to delay the rent just so they can pay Suhong's registration fee. They believe that Suhong is such a magnificent talent that they can't hold back. It turns out that his aunt is even suffering from an incurable disease, but she is ready to stop taking her medicine so that they can save a lot of money. However, his uncle refuses, telling his wife to keep taking her medicine while he takes on another job to support the family. Hearing all of these, Suhong almost breaks down in tears, but he is able to pull himself together, and he happily enters the house like he didn't just hear everything they were talking about. His aunt scolds him for training so late into the night, believing that he must be exhausted already. Suhong offers to help with the task they are doing, but they refuse, suggesting that he take his rest first. While lying on his bed, Suhong decides that he needs to start fixing things by himself because his guardians have sacrificed a whole lot for him. Since he is looking to make some cool cash, he figures out that there is only one place he can go as a martial cultivator. Later on, Suhong heads to the Martial Apprentice Arena Defense Challenge, which is an underground fighting arena. Suhong wears a minotaur mask on his head to conceal his identity, and the host tells Suhong that all he needs to do is win 4 consecutive matches to take home 60,000 yuan. However, he is not allowed to lose because if he loses just once, he will get nothing. The crowd is not entirely thrilled by Suhong's presence since it is the first time they have heard of him or even seen him. They mock him, saying he is playing with his life because the underground arena is not a place for rookies, unless he is looking for death. Seeing that the crowd is dulled by his presence, the female hostess urges Suhong to heat up the crowd. Suhong is totally new to things like this, and he asks the hostess how he is supposed to do this. She gives him ideas like taunting the crowd or even trash-talking them. Suhong follows her advice and screams out, telling the crowd that he is invincible while calling his opponents weaklings. This only makes things worse for him, since the crowd immediately concludes that he is arrogant. The crowd immediately switches up to his opponent, telling him to tear Suhong apart. Suhong finally understands why it is an underground arena because the killing intent is all over the place. However, he has no choice because this is the only way he can earn the tuition money, but he can only hope that his Vajra Fist carries him through a few wins. Su-hong analyzes his opponent and realizes that he is just an easy opponent. The dude makes the first move, leaping towards Su-hong with a punch, but Su-hong easily counters him by smacking his head into the ground, easily knocking him out. Su-hong raises his hand in excitement, but the crowd is not entirely pleased with his display. In no time, the next opponent climbs onto the stage, and he assures Su-hong that he is going to beat the crap out of him because he was only lucky to have defeated his first opponent. With a quick analysis, Su-hong realizes that the dude is actually quite decent, and he beckons to him to charge at him. The dude leaps towards Su-hong with a fist, but this time, Su-hong meets him halfway with his own punch. With this, Su-hong figures out that the dude might be decent, but he is actually inferior to him in strength. The dude basically left himself open after one attack, and Su-hong is able to capitalize on this, landing a kick to the dude's waist to send him flying. The dude is sent into the wall and knocked out immediately, ultimately giving Su-hong 2 consecutive wins. Meanwhile, the man in charge is watching the whole thing unfold from his office, and he is surprised at how skilled Su-hong is, even though he is not even a quasi-martial practitioner. Before they know it, Su-hong has gone past his third opponent, with just one match standing in between him and 60,000 yuan. The man says Su-hong is the perfect match for fixed matches, and his junior, who is wearing a fox mask, offers to go recruit Su-hong. The man tells Mr. Fox not to reveal the fact that he has already advanced to a true martial practitioner. Meanwhile, Su-hong already sees himself holding the 60,000 yuan in his hands because he believes that he can handle his opponents with his minute subtlety-level Vajra fist. Just then, the fox, who is known by the crowd as White Fox, steps into the arena, and everyone is blown away. They are not entirely impressed with White Fox's involvement because they know that he is pretty strong. When Su-hong hears that the dude is a quasi-martial practitioner, he realizes that it is going to be a tough fight, but he is not ready to lose. White Fox sees the uneasiness on his face, and he urges him to chill out, assuring him that he is going to go easy on him. The referee then starts the match, and since Su-hong can sense that he is inferior to White Fox, he decides to go all out from the beginning. Their fists meet halfway, and the force from the punch immediately tells Su-hong that he is wrong. He realizes White Fox is not a quasi-martial practitioner, but a genuine martial practitioner who deliberately suppressed his vital blood energy. Sweat runs down his body, and before he even knows what is happening, White Fox punches him into the distance with his Thunder Rush Fist technique, which is a triple resonance Thunder Rush Fist. Su-hong crashes to the ground with the attacks ravaging his body. The crowd is blown away when they see this, and they conclude that Su-hong is done for. The fight continues, and Su-hong is forced to be on the defensive. White Fox continues to taunt Su-hong, telling him to show his true self because he appears to be weak. Su-hong, on the other hand, cannot even move from where he is, and he knows for sure that if this keeps up, he is dead. He is looking for an opening when White Fox lands a punch straight to his face that sends him flying into the distance. Su-hong crashes to the ground with his face disfigured and the realization that he is slowly losing consciousness. White Fox places his leg on him, telling him that if this keeps up, he won't be able to get the prize money that was promised. However, he lets him know that he has an offer for him. He tells him to join them and starts throwing matches for them while collecting the match's full prize. Su-hong confidently tells White Fox that he is not interested in something so shameless. White Fox's tone and expression change as he tells Su-hong to rethink his decision because he can't refuse them. However, Su-hong tells them that they need to cover their faces in shame because they call themselves martial practitioners with the sort of trash stunt that they are pulling. Since Su-hong is not going to accept his offer, White Fox tells him that he is going to render him useless, so he won't be able to practice martial arts again. White Fox throws a kick at Su-hong, but the moment Su-hong realizes the gravity of what White Fox said, he pulls himself together and dodges the attack. He gets back on his feet with the fierce determination that he is not allowed to fail. White Fox is surprised to see that Su-hong can still stand even though he just took the full power of his Thunder Rush Fist. Unknown to him, Su-hong is driven by the will to become a martial practitioner so he can let his family live a good life. For a moment, he considers White Fox's offer, but he immediately trashes it again because he is not someone who would accept such a trash offer to build his future on. Suddenly, a status window appears in front of him, and the system asks him what he is willing to give for his family. Without hesitation, Su-hong replies that he would give everything. An overwhelming aura swirls around his body, and he suddenly finds himself in a strange space. There is a giant golden figure in front of him who tells Su-hong that he is going to give him a chance. Suddenly, a golden status window appears in front of Su-hong, which displays Su-hong's stats and techniques. Su-hong wonders if it is a touchscreen, but he immediately confirms that it is with just a touch of his hand. He checks out the task section, where he finds a task named Path of the Arena. He is expected to hone his martial arts in that space and then return outside to deal with White Fox. Since it is the newbie tutorial, he is informed that there is no reward for it. Su-hong is wondering what the task is all about when his clone appears behind him and throws a punch at his head. Su-hong barely dodges it and realizes that his clone is using the same skill as him. In fact, his clone's skill appears to be even more refined than his, which is more or less a textbook standard. Since he has gotten himself a worthy opponent and an example to learn from, Su-hong decides to throw everything into it. Su-hong goes after his clone, but the clone easily dodges his strike before landing a counterattack that shifts Su-hong backwards. Suddenly, Su-hong realizes that the progress on his technique has increased to 10%, and it was 7% before the duel began. This is when Su-hong realizes the simple truth that his clone can help him master his technique faster. Su-hong dashes toward him and they start exchanging blows, with each punch increasing the mastery of the technique. Before he knows it, he masters a bunch of techniques just from training with his clone and getting a beating from himself. After a rigorous session, he finally gets a congratulatory message from the system telling him that he has completed the task. He is asked if he wants to return to reality, and he says yes. Back in reality, White Fox believes that Su-hong is just playing around by acting all cool and mysterious. He dashes towards Su-hong, swinging a punch at his face, but all he catches is Su-hong's afterimage. Su-hong easily dodges the dude's attack while telling him that he is too slow. The next thing that White Fox knows is a punch coming straight at his face, shattering his mask while reconfiguring his facial bones. Just one punch from Su-hong knocks White Fox to the ground, with the crowd going totally nuts about it. Su-hong then turns to the hostess, asking her when he is going to get his money because he just won his 4th match. The lady is totally startled by what she just witnessed, and she takes her time before announcing Su-hong as the winner, while revealing that he is going to be given the 60,000 yuan reward. The owner of the establishment is blown away by what he just witnessed, leaving him to wonder how a martial apprentice is able to master the Vajra fist technique. The man then tells 2 of his men to follow Su-hong so that they can find out who he is. On his way back home, Su-hong quickly catches on to the fact that he is being followed, and he wastes no time engaging in a maneuver tactic that throws the dudes off his tail. They are left wondering where he disappeared to, but unknown to them, he is hanging right above them. An hour later, Su-hong returns home, and he gives his guardians the money he just made. They are shocked when they see this, and they ask him where he got the money from. Su-hong lies that he made the money from being a sparring partner at the dojo where he works. He adds that they have decided to sponsor his training because of how talented he is, and the uncle is surprised to hear this, since he once complained about how stingy the dojo is. Su-hong calms the 2 down, asking them if they don't trust him. The 2 immediately come to their senses, agreeing that their nephew would never lie to them. Later that night, Su-hong heads to the roof to think about how good the day went. He has been able to sort out the martial examination registration and even figure out his rent. In fact, his aunt's medical bills have been covered to some extent. Su-hong is glad that he was able to turn danger into safety thanks to the system, but he realizes that aside from the technique levels, the other values didn't change. He notices that there is something called martial Dao value, but he doesn't know what it does. The system tells him that defeating an opponent that is above his level would give him 67 martial Dao value points, and this can be used to increase vital blood and martial techniques, so he should use it wisely. Su-hong decides to try it out immediately, and he increases his vital blood, which immediately reflects on his body. His vital blood jumps to the 90 mark, and he realizes that he has reached the quasi-martial practitioner level. He decides to add all the points he has to vital blood, and he immediately notices an increase in his physical strength, while most of his injuries have fully recovered too. Since he is sensing an overwhelming power in his body, he figures out that getting a good place to try it out is the best way out. He decides to head to the school's martial training ground, where there is a combat power tester. Moments later, he arrives at the Star City No. 1 high school martial training field, where the device is located. It turns out that it is a Tier 1 combat tester, and he decides to use 70% of his punch power to try it out. He takes a deep breath before punching the device, and to his dismay, he destroys it. Su-hong knows he is dead if they find out that he is the one who ruined the machine. At the same time, he just concludes that the machine is bad, which is why it got damaged too easily. Suddenly, he hears someone coming in his direction, and this is because they heard the noise from the tester. It turns out to be the principal, and the old man almost loses his head when he realizes that the school's test has been smashed. He immediately concludes that this is the work of the 2 school geniuses, Chen Shan and Li Tu. The principal decides to teach the 2 a lesson when the school resumes. Later on, the students gather at the school gym, and Su-hong notices that Chen Shan is all beaten up. He asks his friend what happened, and he tells Su-hong that Chen Shan was beaten because he smashed the field tester the night before. Su-hong cannot even say anything to this because he realizes that the old man made sure to make Chen Shan take the fall. Just then, the principal shows up, and he screams at the students to keep their mouths shut, telling them that he invited one of his comrades in arms who is a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Basically, he is there to teach everyone a C-rank martial art, the Thunder Rush Fist. The students are blown away by this because this is the first time they are going to be seeing a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Apparently, outside dojos usually charge hundreds of thousands for teaching C-rank martial arts, but they are about to get it for free in the school. Su-hong, on the other hand, remembers that it is the same technique that White Fox used during their match. Su-hong admits that it is quite powerful since it is a triple resonance punch. Since the opportunity might only come once, Su-hong plans to make the best of it. The trainer then tells the students to pay attention because he is only going to demonstrate the skill 10 times from start to finish. He lets them know that how much they learn about it is up to them. Without wasting time, the trainer begins the demonstration and he throws one punch while explaining that the Thunder Rush has several levels. Basically, each punch produces one thunderous boom, and at Mastery, it produces 3 resonances. At Minute Subtlety, it produces 5 resonances, and at Greater Mastery, it produces 7, which is the trainer's current level. However, he lets them know that if the technique is perfected, it can produce 9 resonances. Nonetheless, he tells them not to rush themselves because even if it is only the beginner level they reach that day, it is enough. The trainer then tells them to follow his example as he starts the second demonstration. Hours later, the students are already exhausted, and no one has even been able to get it. Surprisingly, Suhong is no longer in the hall and his friend wonders where he has disappeared to. Moments later, Chen Shan reaches beginner level and he remains the only person who did among the students. This further proves his status as the genius of the school. The principal excitedly tells the trainer that Chen Shan is the genius of the school and he asks him if he is interested in giving him some guidance. However, the trainer is disappointed in what the principal is referring to as the genius in his class. He tells the man that Chen Shan is average at best. While walking to the entrance of the school, the trainer tells the principal, Li, that his students are trash, and he basically just made him waste a good trip. Li tells the trainer that he should be happy that he even found one student who reached beginner level because getting a top-tier genius is basically impossible. The trainer then tells the old man that martial cultivation is harsh, which means talent is too important. The principal agrees that relying only on effort without destiny is basically impossible. Suddenly, they spot a student practicing in the school field, and this student turns out to be Suhong, but his back is facing them, so they don't recognize him. Right in their presence, Suhong is able to wield the 7 Resonance Thunder Rush Fist, which shocks them. The trainer asks Li about Suhong, but he doesn't even know he has someone that talented in his school. They are further shocked when they realize that Suhong has reached greater mastery in what the trainer just showed them some hours ago. Just then, Li notices that the trainer is standing still, as if he is trying to understand something. Li asks him what the problem is, but suddenly the trainer tells the principal that he has finally understood what he needs to do. He clenches his fist and throws a punch to activate the 8 resonances, which shocks Li. Li can't believe that the trainer just broke through right there, and the man reveals that watching Suhong just gave him inspiration. He admits that he might never have been able to break through if not for him. However, he suggests that they ignore all boring conversations and just find out who the student is. They rush into the field, but to their surprise, Suhong has already vanished. As he walks away from the school, Suhong expresses his surprise at how exhausting it is to cultivate a C-rank technique. Since his Thunder Rush Fist has already reached perfection, he figures out that he has to find a way to earn Martial Dao value to break through to Martial Practitioner as soon as he can. He wonders if he is going to gain points if he spars with someone instead of risking his life in a life-or-death situation. Later on, Suhong arrives at the Thunder Dojo, where he works part-time. Upon entering the dojo, his friend asks him why he is there that day, and Suhong replies that he is just there to get some practice. Meanwhile, a purple-headed student is busy arguing with another student. Suhong asks his friend what the issue is, and he reveals that the new instructor is the purple-head's teacher. Basically, the instructor is pretty strong, but he looks down on commoners as if they are not humans. The purple head is Lian, and he is also pretty strong. Lian is about to beat up the student he is arguing with when Suhong grabs his arm, telling him to chill out. Lian is pissed that a regular dude just grabbed him, and he demands to know who he is. In fact, he tells Suhong to fight him one-on-one in the arena if he thinks he is a big shot. Suhong doesn't hesitate before accepting the request, but the instructor enters at the right time to ruin everything. He tells them to get ready for class, and Lian taunts Suhong, telling him that he literally got lucky. The instructor then reveals that it is his last day teaching the students the furious sea spear art, which he is only going to demonstrate once, just like he's always done. Deep down, the instructor doesn't expect any of them to learn it since he believes that they are all trash. The instructor does as he promised, and he demonstrates the move just once, but Suhong is able to lock everything into his memory. The instructor walks away, telling the students that the rest is up to them, but they scream at him, telling him that he only demonstrated it once. While they are all arguing and protesting, Suhong proceeds to try out what he just crammed into his brain. To everyone's surprise, Suhong gets it really well, leaving his peers in shock. The students start believing that they are really stupid, which is why they can't learn it. Just then, Leon enters the room again because he can hear the students' excitement from the other room. He is surprised to see that Suhong has actually learned the technique, and he decides that he has to test the dude's depth if he is really a genius. Leon calls Suhong's attention, telling him that he would like to give him some pointers on the spear art. Suhong agrees to this, and this gets Suhong's friend really worried. He tells Suhong that even though Leon is arrogant, he is actually strong. Suhong then tells his friend not to worry about him, and Suhong points his spear at Leon, taunting him. Lian is pissed at how arrogant Suhong is, and he dashes at him with his technique, but Suhong meets him halfway with a pretty good technique too. Lian is left in shock, while also wondering how Suhong is able to cultivate his technique to the mastery realm so fast, even though he is not a martial practitioner. The two continue swinging at each other. Suhong enters flow state with his eyes glowing, and he ultimately smashes Lian's spear out of his hand. The system immediately informs him that he has been awarded 35 points because he defeated an opponent who is above his level. Suhong is pleased to see this because it is just as he suspected. Since normal sparring can earn him points, he figures out that he would just continue sparring with more people. Lian, on the other hand, is on his knees wondering how he was defeated by someone he believes to be trash. He doesn't want to accept defeat, and he gets on his feet, dashing towards Suhong with a punch, but the instructor enters just in time to stop the fight. The instructor walks up to Lian and smacks him in the face, telling him that he can't fully call himself a martial practitioner unless he is able to face failure. Lian cannot believe that he just got scolded by his master because of Suhong. Deep down, the instructor is curious about how Suhong was able to reach mastery just by watching his demonstration once. The dude knows that the geniuses in the capital would have even had a time doing what Suhong just did. He knows that Lian is talented, but he is too arrogant, and he believes that being humbled by Suhong would teach him some manners. The instructor grabs Lian's head and forces him to bow to Suhong. The instructor also apologizes to Suhong, telling him that it is his fault for not teaching Lian well. Suhong cannot believe how fast the instructor can change his tone. That night, Suhong heads home, and on his way, he checks out the rewards he got thanks to the spar and teachings. Even though he is exhausted, he is grateful for the rewards. He remembers that the school exam is coming in a few days, and the students who have money have prepared high-grade alloy weapons, which means he also has to prepare a weapon of his own. Since the spear he used felt really comfortable, he decided to stick with spears, and he concluded that he would have to buy an alloy spear. However, he has just a little money, which is not even enough for his aunt's treatment, not to mention buying a spear. He starts racking his head if there is any other way to make money, and just then, he notices that an important piece of news is being displayed on the screen. It turns out that the city lord is recruiting martial practitioners because of the increasing number of ferocious beasts. Suhong immediately puts this on his bucket list. Moments later, he arrives at the house, and he immediately jumps on the task his aunt is working on to help her. He helps place massage plasters on his uncle's back, while telling him not to overwork himself again, since he can now make money for the family. His uncle admits that this would be nice, but he doesn't think he can sit idly. His uncle tells him not to worry because he is just earning a bit for daily expenses, so he won't push himself. Suhong's aunt then reminds him that he is going to need a lot of money for his martial arts training later, which is why they want to save as much as they can for him. Suhong immediately figures out that his uncle and aunt won't sit down to rest because they are already used to living in hard times, which means the only solution is to make a crazy amount of money to assure them that they don't have to worry about working themselves to death. This further cements his decision to earn from the ferocious beast hunt. However, he is aware that the wilderness is dangerous, and to be safe, he figures out that he would need to raise his strength as much as possible. He decides to put all the martial Dao points he has into vital blood. After adding all the points he has, his vital blood level shoots up to 95.2, which is just a step away from becoming a martial practitioner. After 2 full days of working really hard, Suhong is able to bring all of his martial techniques into perfection. Since his preparations are now complete, he figures out that it is time to leave the city to hunt beasts. That Saturday, Suhong heads to the Star City Martial Practitioner base, and since it is his first time coming there, he is surprised at how far it is. Upon entering the base, she realizes that it is filled with martial practitioners that one won't see every day. Suhong picks up a manual where he learns of the points awarded to each ferocious beast defeated from Tier 1, early stage, down to the late stage. It turns out that after killing a ferocious beast, one is required to cut off its left ear as proof or the kill won't be counted. He is looking around when he notices a group entering the base. The big guy among them carries a big bag on his back which is obviously filled with left ears. The arrival of the group catches everyone's attention, and leading the group is a blonde-haired fellow, Yeah. Suhong notices something strange about his aura and his outfit, which makes him believe that Yeah is White Fox from the underground arena. It turns out that the practitioners don't really like Ye, and most of them would have beaten him up if his uncle wasn't the base manager. Ye soon notices Suhong standing in the distance, and they lock eyes. Suhong immediately figures out that he has to worry about humans while also worrying about beasts. After he is done settling his affairs, Suhong tells the official that he is heading out alone, and the official believes that Suhong is just going to die in the wilderness because he is trying to prove that he is tough. As he steps into the woods, Suhong makes a decision to return with a bag full of monster ears. 2 hours later, Suhong is already getting frustrated because he has walked around without sighting a single beast. Since he's walked around the outskirts with no luck, he decides to go deeper into the forest. He hasn't even gone that far when he runs into a phantom moonwolf, which is a Tier 1 early stage ferocious beast. It is his first time seeing one physically, and the beast wastes no time leaping toward him with clear intentions of tearing him apart. With the beast charging in recklessly, Suhong meets it halfway with a powered punch that sends it flying into the tree. With just a punch from Suhong, the monster is sent to the afterlife. Even though he is trembling, Suhong cannot help but admit that it was a thrilling experience more than he imagined. He realizes that with his current strength, he can kill a Tier 1 early-stage ferocious beast in one move, which leaves him wondering how he would fare against a Tier 1 mid-stage. Meanwhile, he is being stalked by another monster that is watching from deep into the woods. Suddenly, the monster makes its move, and it turns out to be a furious black bear, which is a Tier 1 mid-stage ferocious beast. It leaps towards Suhong, aiming to catch him off guard, but Suhong takes it down relatively easily too. With this, Suhong concludes that he is not in any sort of danger as long as he doesn't run into Tier 2 ferocious beasts. Suhong cuts off the bear's ear, and he smiles because he has just secured 3,000 bounty. Just then, the system tells him that he now has enough martial Dao points to break through to a martial practitioner. Suddenly, he feels an overwhelming presence in the distance, which catches his attention. This leaves Suhong wondering what type of beast could emit such a terrifying presence. He decides to go check it out, and he dashes toward where the aura was coming from. By the time he gets there, he finds a group of martial practitioners getting torn apart by a scary black jade giant python, which is a Tier 1 late-stage ferocious beast. One of the martial practitioners tries to block the serpent with his shield, but he gets smacked into a rock, ultimately relieving him of his life debt. Before he knows it, he realizes that the snake has locked onto him. The snake rushes at him, forcing him to frantically leap backward. However, the snake is so fast that it is able to close the distance in no time, landing a hit that causes Suhong to cough up blood. Suhong cleans the blood in his mouth, and he grabs the spear of one of the dead practitioners, telling the dead fellow that he would like to borrow his spear. Suhong then stands fearless in front of the snake, but this only makes the snake even angrier. The snake comes after Suhong with ferocity, forcing Suhong to run. Basically, defeating this type of monster would take a bunch of martial practitioners working together. However, all of his martial techniques have reached perfection, and he can easily kill a Tier 1 mid-stage furious black bear, so he believes that he has a chance against the python. Suhong engages his movement techniques to try to get the edge over the snake before hitting it with spear art. The spear passes through the snake's body, causing it to scream out in pain. The spear comes out from the other side, and Suhong quickly goes after the spear. He pulls out the spear and hurls it at the python again. This time around, the spear pierces the snake's neck, leaving a hole in it, while the python gets even angrier. The snake violently goes after Suhong, trying to catch him off guard, but Suhong is too agile for the snake to catch. Because of the size difference between them, Suhong knows that it is pretty difficult for him to land a killing blow in one strike. Since it has come to this, he figures out that he can only weaken the beast as much as he can until he is able to deliver the killing strike. While dodging the snake's movements, Suhong lands a powerful punch to the snake's body before going after his spear again. Suhong has been creating distance between himself and the snake after every attack, so he can find another opening to strike again. Even though the method is draining his stamina, he has no choice because it is the only safe method that he can use. While he is panting like a dog, Suhong notices that the snake is already getting exhausted too. Suhong is convinced that he can defeat the snake after a couple of exchanges. This motivates Suhong, and just as he's about to start another phase of attack, he senses something strange behind him. He looks behind to see the big guy on Ye's team leaping toward him with a punch. Suhong manages to raise his arm just in time to block the attack, but he is sent flying into the distance thanks to the heavy punch. Suhong manages to get on his knees while coughing hard from the attack. He looks up to see Ye and his gang showing up in their numbers, and without hesitation, Ye tells Suhong to surrender the python to him. Ye tells Suhong that he thought he would die in the forest because he saw him leaving the city alone. However, he is surprised that he is lucky enough to have run into a wounded python. While they are busy discussing this, the python is already on the verge of death. And since Ye claimed he was just lucky to have found the python, Suhong figures out that they just arrived. Suhong knows that he is outnumbered, and to make it worse, they are martial practitioners. Suhong is thinking about a way forward when the big guy lunges at him again. He screams at Suhong, telling him to get lost, but Suhong is overtaken with anger. He screams at the dude, telling him that he was only forced to repel his earlier attack because it was a surprise attack. He asks the dude if he seriously thinks he can't beat all of them up. Suhong then meets the dude halfway with a powerful punch, and before he can even react, he gets punched in the head. The dude is knocked to the ground, ultimately taking him out of the picture. Seeing Suhong's skill, Ye immediately confirms that he is the Minotaur dude from the underground arena. Ye tells Suhong that he is literally the first person to ever humiliate him badly in front of many people. Ye then orders his lackeys to kill Suhong. Seeing that he is about to be jumped, Suhong grabs the spear and leaps into the forest. The dudes chase after him, but thanks to the dense forest, Suhong is able to stay hidden. However, the gang is not afraid of Suhong since he is just one person. Suddenly, Suhong appears out of nowhere, and before the dude with a face mask even knows what is happening, he gets smacked really hard into the ground. Suhong vanishes immediately, and Ye realizes that our guy is pretty fast. At this point, Ye's lackeys have started getting worried because the skill Suhong just used is not to be joked with. However, Ye screams at them, telling them to keep their mouths shut. Meanwhile, Suhong is hiding in a tree, and he knows that he would have been able to take on all of them head-on if the snake hadn't drained his stamina. Since this is the case, he is left with the only safe option, which is to pick them off one by one. Suhong leaps off the tree, and he throws his spear beside them to catch their attention. The moment they lose focus because of the spear, he goes after the one with the nice hair and kicks him in the head, knocking him out completely. The last guy on the team screams like a baby, telling Ye that it would be nice if they ran because Suhong is too strong, but Ye refuses, saying he has to kill Suhong that very day. Before he knows it, Suhong appears out of nowhere just like before and smacks the last guy to the ground, leaving Ye as the only person on the team. At this point, Ye is already shitting his pants, wondering how Suhong was able to get that strong in just a few days. Since he is the last person on the team, Suhong decides to toy with him. Suhong runs past him, and by the time he turns around, Suhong is already gone. Suhong then reappears behind him, but Ye is able to react to this. He screams at Suhong, telling him not to be overconfident, believing that he has cornered him. Ye fires off an energy blast from his finger that Suhong barely dodges. The blast misses Suhong's head, and it destroys the tree behind him. To keep Suhong away, Ye continues firing off energy blasts from his finger, which is thanks to a skill called Void-Breaking Finger. Suhong is forced to keep changing locations, and realizing how strong Ye's technique is, he wonders if it is a B-rank skill. Ye then starts to yap, telling Suhong to show himself, but he doesn't stop there. He proceeds to threaten Suhong's family, saying he is going to have them killed when he returns to the city. This turns out to be his biggest mistake, as Suhong immediately goes into frenzy mode. He ignores the essence of fear, and he dashes toward Ye's position. Ye is still boasting about his connections when a bloodthirsty Suhong appears behind him with a powerful punch. He tells Ye that he actually preferred his arrogant self before punching him so hard in the head. Ye's head almost twists from his body as he is sent flying into the distance before crashing into a wall. Suhong looks like a demon straight from hell as he walks toward Ye, telling him that he should have left his family out of it. With blood pouring out of his body like water, Ye asks Suhong how he got this strong, which is supposed to be impossible. He is still asking stupid questions when the black python appears behind him and smacks him into the ground with its giant tail. The snake then turns its attention to Suhong, and it looks angrier than before as it screams at Suhong. Suhong realizes that he has spent too much time fighting Ye, which has given the snake the time to recuperate. Meanwhile, Ye's lackeys have regained consciousness, and while they are wondering where Ye is, they see Suhong running towards them. Just as they are preparing to engage him in a fight, Suhong screams at them to get out of the way. It soon dawns on them that Suhong is being chased by the black python. Suhong dashes past them, but because of how slow they are killed by the black python. Surprisingly, Suhong is awarded points for indirectly killing his opponents. Suhong is shocked that he can also earn points this way, and this reminds him that he now has enough points to break through to become a martial practitioner. He decides to find a safe place for himself, and he soon notices a cave in the distance. Without hesitation, he dashes toward the cave and disappears into the cave before the snake gets to him. However, the snake is about to give up as it keeps trying to force its way into the cave. Seeing how desperate the snake is, Suhong quickly pulls out the status window and he starts to add points to his vital blood as fast as he can. Doing this causes him intense pain that he feels like lava is flowing through his body. After adding all the points and enduring the pain, Suhong finally becomes a true martial practitioner with a red aura swirling around his body. Seeing the difference in Suhong's aura, the python starts backing away from the cave. However, Suhong goes after it, landing a punch to the snake's head that sends it into the air. The snake bleeds out profusely, but Suhong is not yet done with it. Suhong leaps toward the snake and delivers a powerful punch to its body before pushing its spear into its body. By exerting great force into the spear, Suhong is able to pin the snake to the ground. This gives Suhong the chance to cook up the Thunder Rush Fist, which he delivers to the snake's head without mercy. The overwhelming strength of Suhong's punch is enough to crush the snake's head, which grants him 92 Dao points. Suhong is extremely proud of himself because he was able to withstand the snake's attacks. When it is time to cut a proof for the snake's kill, he is left confused on what to do, since snakes have no ears. Nonetheless, he figures out that returning to the base is the most important thing. As he is about to leave, he finds Ye's crushed body on the ground. Suhong lets him know that he should be thankful that he died the way he did because he obviously had other plans for him. Suhong then decides to search him, hoping to find the high-grade technique that he was using. Fortunately for him, he found the book on the void-breaking finger. That night, Su-hong locks himself in the cave to memorize and master the new technique that he has just found. Once he is ready, he pulls out his clone and the two engage in a fierce battle in which he is trying to master the void-breaking finger. After so much stress, he finally breaks through to the beginner level of the technique. By the time he returns to reality, he realizes that he is already bleeding in the nose, which shows just how powerful the technique is. Su-hong decides to find a monster to test out the power on. 3 days later, Su-hong is still busy hunting down monsters with the new technique. He confidently fires off an energy blast into a brown bear, charging toward him, and this easily destroys the bear. Confident that he has mastered the skill, Su-hong concludes that it is time for him to head back to the base. He makes his way to the counter where everyone is documenting their kills. He drops his bag, and the attendant checks it out. She starts calling out the monsters that were defeated by Su-hong, shocking the other practitioners standing around. It turns out that Su-hong was able to take down monsters worth 406,000 points. This is when it dawns on Su-hong that he overdid it because he was looking to just hunt a few in the first place. Suddenly, a side of the wall in the base is destroyed. The practitioners are surprised to see that they are getting attacked when there are literally a bunch of them lying around. Just then, the person who destroyed the wall shows himself, and it turns out to be Ye's uncle, who is the base manager. The practitioners are surprised to see that old Ye is pissed, and the officials ask him what the issue is. The old man then reveals that his nephew and all of his gang have been killed. The crowd is shocked to hear this, but deep down, they are not concerned because Ye was a douchebag when he was alive, so most didn't really care. Old Ye then mentions that a B-rank technique was taken from Ye's body, and he wants everyone on the base to be searched before they are permitted to leave. Su-hong maintains a straight face while thinking about everything that happened in the woods. He is confident that the corpses can't be traced back to him, since the python was the monster that killed Ye and his team. Su-hong is thinking about this when Old Ye suddenly locks eyes with him, shocking him. Old Ye then turns to Su-hong and tells him that he is aware of his latest feat of taking down beasts as if they are nothing, which gained him over 400,000 points. One of Old Ye's assistants tells him that she checked Su-hong's stats and it was barely fit to be a Tier 1 early stage, so there is no way he killed that many beasts. The lady believes that Su-hong only picked up Ye's backpack, and she suggests that they search Su-hong. 2 bodyguards walk towards Su-hong with an intimidating aura while telling Su-hong to cooperate. Just as they are about to reach him, Su-hong points his spear at them before they can even realize. They ask him what he is trying to pull off, and Su-hong reveals that he is a student from Star City No. 1 High. He asks them if they are really willing to search him. The moment Old Ye hears this, he remembers that the principal of the school is known for how he fiercely protects his students. He knows fully well that the principal is no joke, so it won't make sense to cross him. However, he believes that Su-hong is quite suspicious. Old Ye secretly admits that Su-hong might be a genius if he were the one who hunted down all the beasts, which means wrongly accusing him might cause problems for them. Old Ye then moves over to Su-hong, telling him how Ye and his team were ambushed. He adds that a technique was stolen from them and they would need to search him. Su-hong then decides to add a clause to the whole thing. He tells Old Ye that he would like them to pay him 30,000 yuan just in case they don't find anything on him. Su-hong is confident that none of what happened can be traced back to him. Old Ye agrees to the deal and he tells his men to thoroughly search Su-hong. After they are done searching him, they find nothing, and Ye tells them to give Su-hong the 30,000 yuan that he owes. Su-hong is glad that everything is going pretty well, and it is thanks to the fact that he burned the book before he even left the forest. After he has been searched, Su-hong prepares to leave, and he has his next plans mapped out already. Su-hong then heads to the inn of the martial practitioner base. Once he's settled in, he decides to use his points. He is shocked to see that he has that large a number of points in stock. However, he is left confused about what to choose. He realizes that the mortal body and spirit haven't received any upgrades since the start. Since he is curious, he decides to try it out, and he dumps his points into the spirit and mortal body. After filling the mortal body with enough points, he decides to push the rest into the spirit. This is enough to cause severe changes in his body that Su-hong can even feel. The spirit skill is about to transform him into a muscular man, but Su-hong is able to dial it down. He is thankful that he got it under control because there is no way he would have been able to explain it to anyone. 1 hour after this, Su-hong heads to the Star City Martial Practitioner Association. He meets with the attendant at the reception, telling her that he is there for the Martial Practitioner assessment. The lady attends to him calmly, telling him that a staff member will soon show him the way. Just as said, a staff member shows up to lead him to the section where he is going to take the test. As he walked past the other practitioners, they were all surprised that a kid like him was coming to take the test. The staff informs Su-hong that a Tier 1 martial practitioner needs 100 vital blood and over 1,000 combat power to pass the exam. The practitioners who see him believe that he is just there to give the whole thing a trial. Upon arriving at the testing center, Su-hong watches as some fellas fail the test. However, one candidate, Li Ming, passes right in front of him with a combat power of 1,000 points. It turns out that he is Jiang Ming's student, and Ming is Leon's instructor too. Ming is surprised to learn about this, wondering just how many disciples he has. The dude then arrogantly tells Su Hong that he is up for his test. Li Ming believes that Su Hong is going to embarrass himself because he believes he has a chance. Suddenly, his arrogant behavior is watered down when he learns that Su Hong passed the vital blood test with 123 points. However, he tries to calm himself with the fact that Su Hong hasn't taken the combat power test yet, and this is the main deal. Su Hong is led to the power testing machine, and he remembers how he broke the machine at school. He realizes that he has gotten stronger, so he is going to use 4/10 of his power. Suddenly, it dawns on him that this might backfire because if he goes too light and fails to get the required number, it would be bad. He then decides to go with 5/10 of his power to avoid errors. Su Hong punches the field tester so hard that it gets disconnected from where it was bolted to. The tester is sent crashing into the wall, shocking those who witnessed the test. Li Ming, who was arrogant some minutes ago, couldn't even comprehend what just happened in front of him. The tester's capacity is 3,000 combat power, but Su Hong basically went past that, and the other practitioners conclude that Su Hong is a freaking monster. Meanwhile, the president of the Star City Martial Association, Wu Lingxian, is seen in her office complaining about the lack of geniuses. She is worried that her position as president would be threatened if she can't provide one very soon. Suddenly, one of the officials came rushing into the room, telling her that a monster had just appeared at the martial practitioner assessment. Wu's head immediately goes into overdrive when she hears, because it is just what she wanted. Later on, Su Hong is in the hall taking instructions from one of the staff. He tells him that he is going to get a practitioner identity, while also receiving an allowance. Suddenly, Wu shows up at the top of the stairs, telling her subordinate to hand Su Hong over to her. The dude is shocked that the president shows up just because of Su Hong. Wu introduces herself and tells Su Hong to follow her. Su Hong acknowledges the order, but he is impressed at how young the lady is, and she is already a force to be reckoned with. Upon arriving at the president's office, Wu talks about how Li told her that he had no geniuses in his school, but it turns out to be a lie. Su Hong then asks the lady why she brought him to her office because he only came to register as a martial art practitioner so he can collect his allowance while getting a guiding technique. Wu urges Su Hong to relax because she has already told the staff to handle the martial practitioner certificate and his monthly allowance. And for the guiding technique, she tells Su Hong that she is going to teach him personally. She asks him how much he knows about guiding techniques, and Su Hong explains what he learned in the books. Wu lets him know that what the textbook said is not entirely wrong, but she reveals that the guiding techniques are far more than just cultivation methods. She uses her heavenly flame guiding technique as an example, saying it absorbs fire attribute spiritual energy. Although it strengthens the body, it also imbues her attacks with flame attribute destructive power. She tells him that if he can externalize the said attribute, he can extend his attack range. However, for a Tier 1 martial practitioner like him, she tells him that carrying a trace of it is already impressive, so he doesn't have to break his back wrapping his fist in the attribute as she just demonstrated. Su Hong is shocked when he realizes that guiding techniques can be used for attack because he had only thought they were for absorbing spiritual energy to cultivate. He is surprised that the textbook he read never mentioned something like this. Wu continues by saying there are 7 spiritual energies of heaven and earth. There is metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and wind. She says they all have their strengths and weaknesses. But when it comes to raw attack power, thunder ranks first, metal comes in second, and fire is third. She then tells him that the guiding technique that he is able to cultivate depends on his affinity. Su Hong gets the hang of it a little and realizes that one can actually choose whichever guiding technique they want to practice. Wu places a big ball on the table, telling him that it is a crystal ball, which is used for testing affinity. She mentions that the larger the glowing area, the higher the affinity. Apparently, ordinary martial practitioners usually get nothing above 30%. However, Wu has about 80%, which is considered to be really high, although she believes that a genius like Su Hong will be able to exceed 90%. Su Hong takes the ball, and he knows that it would be something out of the ordinary if he gets 90% compared to the talented Wu. Just then, the ball starts to glow, and to Wu's surprise, it is entirely full, which shows that Su Hong has 100% affinity for the fire attribute. Wu grabs him, asking him if he knows what this means, and Su Hong says no. She tells him that this means he can absorb fire attribute spiritual energy from heaven and earth with 100% efficiency, with no leakage whatsoever. Wu reveals that with her 80% affinity, it means she is losing 20% when absorbing fire spiritual energy. Even with this, she is already a Tier 5 martial practitioner, which also gave her the chance to become the president of the Star City branch. However, she lets him know that his achievements will definitely surpass his own. Wu confesses that she never expected a rural place like Star City to produce such a genius as Su Hong. While Wu is celebrating this, Su Hong is busy thinking about getting the thunder attribute because he prefers this. He then tries it out, and the ball glows completely to the max point, just like the fire attribute. Wu sees this and stands there speechless like a statue, refusing to believe what is happening in front of her. Wu is basically suffering a brain freeze because Su-hong has 100% affinity for 2 attributes. Wu hasn't finished recovering from this when Su-hong tells her that the wind attribute is also 100%. Minutes later, Wu finds it hard to move from where she is because she is totally overwhelmed by what she just witnessed. Basically, Su-hong has an affinity for all of the attributes, and to make it worse, they are all 100%. She has always thought of herself as a strong martial artist, but now that she is standing before an anomaly, she realizes that she is just an ordinary fellow. A flashback scene shows Wu taking on a giant monster that was ravaging the city, and it then dawns on her that to defeat such an overwhelming existence, someone with an equally scary power is needed. Wu is completely lost in thought before Su-hong mentions that it would be a waste for him to cultivate only the thunder attribute while leaving the others. Su-hong then asks Wu to give him some advice concerning the guiding techniques. Wu then tells him that one has a limited energy, so it is better that he focuses on 1 or 2 at most. Apparently, there was someone in the past who tried to cultivate all 7 guiding techniques at once, but after decades, the fellow was still stuck at a Tier 1 martial practitioner. Su-hong then tells the president that he can't make up his mind at that moment, which is why he wants to try all of them first, so he can know which one to focus on. Wu agrees to this, but urges him not to mess around and eventually waste his talent. Just then, Wu mentions the school exam that is coming up. Su-hong asks her why she is talking about the school exam, and she explains that recently, the friction on the myriad races battlefield has been intensifying. She mentions that war between the myriad races and humanity could break out at any moment. Thanks to this, every nation is pouring massive resources into forming genius training camps, and she has one that she wants to recommend for him. However, he has to take first place in his school's monthly exam so she can secure a recommendation slot. Su-hong is overwhelmed by the information, and he remembers that a myriad race war was what took his parents' lives. Remembering this, Su-hong assures the president that he is going to try his best because he is not about to allow the tragedy of the past to repeat itself, so he has to become stronger to protect everyone around him. Later that night, Su-hong arrives home to tell his parents about the development of things. The two are glad to learn that their ward has finally become capable. Su-hong explains to them that as a Tier 1 martial practitioner, he's going to get a 10,000 yuan allowance every month. He then tells his uncle that he doesn't have to work himself to death anymore. His uncle is happy to hear this, and he concludes that Su-hong is the pillar of the family, so whatever Su-hong says, he is going to listen to him. That night, Su-hong heads to the roof as usual to try out the fire attribute. He is able to shoot out smoke, which counts as a beginner in the guiding technique. Just then, a guiding technique section appeared on the status window, and this confirms Su-hong's suspicion that he has already learned it. Just then, he notices that there are levels to the technique. This comes as a surprise because Wu never mentioned anything of the sort. However, it soon dawns on him that the guiding techniques can only be leveled up by him, and this creates a level of excitement in him. However, he doesn't know how the level up happens. He wonders if they can be leveled up using martial Dao points too. Since he doesn't know how this works, he decides to cultivate the rest of the guiding techniques first. Su-hong then sits down to focus on the guiding techniques, but several hours later, he hasn't made progress because the 7 different attributes repel each other. He then remembers the genius Wu mentioned, who was stuck in Tier 1 even after decades. Even though all 7 attributes are present inside him, he can only mobilize 1 attribute at a time. Anytime he tries to force a second attribute into it, it clashes violently and then disappears. Since Su-hong knows that thunder and fire are similar, he decides that he is going to try to cultivate them together. Hours later, Su-hong wasn't able to carry out his desired result. This continues till the next day, but Su-hong is able to tame both thunder and fire at the same time. Su-hong creates a fireball with lightning in his hand, and he is proud of himself because after trying the whole night, it finally worked out. He decides that it is time to test out the new power. The following day, he heads down to the test field where he is to test his power on the Tier 3 combat power tester. Since he used 5/10 of his power the last time, he decides to use 3/10 this time. Su-hong punches the tester hard, and surprisingly, the mark was above 2,000. Su-hong finally understands how strong he has become. He then decides to combine the power of fire and thunder to see what will happen. He punched the machine again, and this time it broke. Su-hong realizes that his power is quite terrifying because he has gotten an extraordinary power from fusing 2 abilities. Su-hong is already thinking of what would happen if he got his hands on the 7 attributes. Su-hong then returns home to try to fuse 3 attributes together, but it fails because it is even harder. He has tried all the combinations that he can, but there is no progress whatsoever. He wonders if raising the guiding technique level would help him fuse the techniques successfully. Since the monthly exam is the next day, Su-hong figures out that it would be best if he earns enough martial points before the next day. The next day at the school, Lee addresses the students, telling them that with the front lines growing really tense, there will be an annual training camp every year to select and intensively train geniuses. He mentions that the training camps offer abundant resources like pills and even grandmasters who will serve as their instructors. He then reveals that it is the top 3 students in the monthly exam who will qualify to join the Star City training camp. The students are hyped when they hear this, but Suhong, on the other hand, is more concerned about the Tier 7 grandmaster. Just then, Suhong's friend tells him that Li Tu and Chen Shan are both martial practitioners now. Suhong can't believe that he was away for 10 days, but the two have broken through to martial practitioner. Suhong reveals that the principal had the instructor, Chen, come in to give the 2 additional lessons for the past couple of days. Suhong's friend tells him the impressive things Tu and Chen have done. Thanks to this, the 2 can now compete to see who is the best. Meanwhile, the principal and Chen are still trying to find the student from before, but since they can't, they have started assuming that he is not from their school. Just then, Jiang shows up at the school with Lian and Li Ming. He teases the principal, telling him that the quality of students that year doesn't look too good. The old man asks Jiang what he wants, and he reveals that he brought his 2 disciples to spar with the students so that they can be taught the proper way of things. The principal quickly figures out that Jiang is trying to humiliate him. However, if he refuses the offer, it would mean that he is admitting that his entire school has no real talent. The principal is thinking of what to do when Lian notices Suhong among the students in the distance. Lian quickly calls Jiang's attention to this by whispering in his ear. Jiang also turns in Suhong's direction, and the moment he confirms that he is the one, he freaks out because he never expected him to be from the number 1 high. Jiang immediately figures out that it would be better if he withdraws because none of his disciples would be able to take on Suhong. Jiang teases the principal, telling him that he was only joking while telling him that his dumb disciples can't compare to the quality students that he has in the school. Chen and Li almost explode from anger when they hear this because they believe that Suhong is mocking them sarcastically, but little do they know that Suhong has seen something that is beyond his power. Soon afterward, the exam begins and Suhong is facing a dude named Peng. Everyone believes that Suhong is doomed because his first opponent is a quasi-martial practitioner. Suhong's opponent even teases him, asking him if he is prepared to step down, but before he even finishes his statement, Suhong smacks him to the ground as if he is nothing. The crowd is left in shock when they see this because Suhong basically one-shotted a quasi-martial practitioner. They believe that it is a fluke until Suhong continues defeating all of his opponents pretty easily. Before they know it, he has reached the finals, leaving the adults wondering where he came from in the first place. Li blames himself for not noticing such an incredible talent all this time. The instructor then mentions that he must have seen Suhong somewhere before because he looks really familiar. Meanwhile, Chen Shan and Li Tu are still fighting each other to know who is going to get to the finals. Because of how equal they are in strength, it is hard to say it is a particular person who will win. While they are busy fighting, they are still taunting each other about who is the strongest and who is the second strongest in the school. Just then, Chen externalizes his attribute to wrap fire around his fists, shocking those who are watching. They are blown away because fire is only second to thunder when it comes to destructive power. Tu then shocks everyone by externalizing his own attribute, which is metal, and it is more powerful than fire when it comes to destructive capabilities. Tu goes after Chen, delivering fast-paced attacks that shock everyone. Chen feels the heat of the attack, and the teachers realize that Tu has been hiding his true depth from the beginning, which is why he is able to defeat Chen. The instructor commends Tu, saying he was able to master the attribute externalization in just 10 days, while also making it to minute subtlety. The old man then concludes that there is no need to watch the finals because with minute subtlety, Suhong has no chance against Tu. The instructor agrees with him, saying Suhong might have had a chance if he had a guiding technique. Just then, one of the instructors bets 50,000 on Suhong, and the old man quickly takes him up on his bet. Soon afterward, Suhong and Tu meet in the finals. Tu teases Suhong, telling him that he was lucky to have reached the finals because he didn't meet him or Chen on the way. However, he lets him know that his run of luck has come to an end. Suhong keeps mute because he is happy that he is finally getting a good human to beat up after fighting beasts for so long. Tu tells Suhong that he should be proud because he can call himself second best in the school since he made it to the finals. Suhong taunts him, asking him who is first, and Tu lunges toward him, saying it is obviously him. Tu unleashes a 5-resonance thunder rush fist that shocks the spectators. Instead of dodging the incoming attack, Suhong decides to stand around to test out his physical prowess. The students shout at the referee, telling him to save Suhong because he is about to be obliterated. Suhong then jumps at Tu, and the two start exchanging punches. Tu is shocked when he realizes that Suhong is able to stand against him with a skill of his own. Suhong maintains the intensity, and Tu realizes that Suhong is no child's play because every punch from him feels really heavy. The spectators are left in awe because Suhong isn't using any martial technique, but he is able to match Tu blow for blow. This tells the crowd that Suhong's strength is no child's play. The instructor believes that Suhong has a unique physique because there is no way his power is that exaggerated. Lee is excited that his trash school is able to provide a genius at last. As the battle continues, Tu tells Suhong not to believe that he has a chance because he will come out as the winner in the end. Seeing how desperate Tu is to win, Suhong realizes that his physical strength is not enough to win against him, so he might just go all out against him too. Suhong then tells Tu that he is going to get serious with him since he showed him his full power too. Suhong then externalizes his thunder attribute as he dashes toward Tu. Fear grips Tu when he sees this because he wasn't expecting Suhong to have a trump card. Even the spectators are left wondering what might be going on. The teacher screams out like a frog when he sees how Suhong is handling the thunder technique. Moments later, Tu realizes that he is getting overwhelmed by Suhong's technique because his thunder attribute is stronger than his metal attribute. Suhong lets Tu know that he is going to get serious with him by showing him his trump card. He unleashes 9 resonances on Tu, ultimately trashing him. The students are initially stunned by what happened, but when they finally digest how Suhong won, the crowd goes wild. Seeing how he just used 9 resonances, Lee and the instructor also figure out that Suhong was the student who vanished from their sight that day. The principal tells the instructor that they are not witnessing just a genius, but the dragon star of the school. The instructor chuckles nervously, saying the privileged geniuses at the training camp are about to be hit with a brutal shock. He compares Suhong to a dragon that is meant to soar, not to sink in a pond. The principal agrees with him, saying Suhong is meant to shine on the international level, not a rural place like Star City. That night, Suhong returns home with a smile on his face, and when his guardians ask him who took first in the school, he proudly reveals that he is the one. His uncle asks him if this means that he is going to the training camp, and he says yes. Just then, they hear a knock on the door, and when they go to the door to investigate, they meet an arrogant woman who reveals that she is Lin Nian's mother at Suhong's school. Since the school usually sends the top 3 to the training camp, and her son took 4th, she tells Suhong that she is interested in paying him to give up his spot for her son. She pulls out 30,000 yuan like it's some kind of big money and tells Suhong and his guardians that this is what she is ready to pay. She expects them to jump at the money, but the cold expression on their faces shocks her, and she screams at them, telling them the competition is a brutal one where people can die. She continues by saying those who participate in the training camp are known to consume high-grade pills like candy while using high-tier techniques as if it is nothing. Suhong's mother hears this and she fears, forcing her to ask Suhong if it is really dangerous, just as the woman said. However, the uncle urges his wife to chill out. He then asks Suhong if he can promise that he is going to be safe, and Suhong assures him that he will. The woman is surprised that the man believes the child's guarantee, and the man lets her know that it is his own decision, so he has to trust him. He adds that there is no reason for him to call Suhong his family if he doesn't trust him. Without further argument, they slam the door in her face, leaving her embarrassed. She walks away in anger while telling the family that Suhong is going to get eliminated. After she is gone, Suhong apologizes to his uncle, telling him that he never meant to hide the danger from him, and his uncle assures him that it is fine. He mentions that he is a rough man, but he is more educated, and he understands the training camp better. Suhong's uncle tells him that since he has made up his mind to face the difficulties, he is ready to support him. Suhong's aunt smacks her husband before telling Suhong that all they care about is that he returns safely. Later that night, Suhong heads to the roof to think about his future journey. He knows that his guardians are only worried about him, which is why he can't even let them down. He concludes that he has to get stronger to protect his hard-earned peaceful life. Suhong then checks out the status window, and he realizes that he has 285 Dao points currently, but this is not enough for what he wants. Since he doesn't know what kind of monsters he is going to face at the training camp, he decides to prioritize his physical combat power. Suhong adds points to his mortal body, and after a painful ordeal, he realizes that he is still 35% away from 100%. Suddenly, he notices that Thunder and Heavenly Flame techniques have already reached level 2. Suhong remembers practicing guiding techniques for just a few days, and nothing more. He wonders if extra conditions are needed, or if it is the normal cultivation of guiding techniques that allows the attributes to level up. Since this is the case, Suhong decides that he is going to raise the bar to another level. The next day at dawn, Suhong had managed to reach level 3 on both attributes. In fact, his Vital Blood technique also increased by 3 points. When Suhong finally prepares to leave, his aunt urges him to stay safe, and even rush home if things get too dangerous. However, the uncle believes that Suhong has what it takes to be successful, and he tells Suhong to go to the training camp to be the first among all. After he is gone, Suhong's uncle finally shows just how worried he is, but was trying to act all tough. Moments later, Wu pulls up beside Suhong, telling him to get into the car. Suhong obliges and places his spear in the back of the beautiful red convertible car. Wu cuts through the highway at incredible speed, and Suhong asks her why she wants to see him. Wu then tells him that there are certain things that she has to warn him about concerning the training camp. Wu mentions that as president of the association, there is some participants' information that she has access to. She reveals that there are martial practitioners who are already on the verge of Tier 2 among the participants. She mentions that there are several monsters in the training camp, and the weakest techniques that they master are B-rank techniques. When Suhong hears this, he gets even more excited instead of scared because he can learn B-rank techniques quickly. Wu admits that Suhong is the strongest she's seen when it comes to talent, but she lets him know that he doesn't have the same level of resources as those he is going to meet in the training camp. She urges him to suppress the challenges and setbacks he faces in the training camp because he is talented enough to do this. Suhong thanks Wu for the advice, and Wu is basically impressed that Suhong is staying so calm, even though he knows that he is going to a dangerous place. Later on, the 3 participants from Star City High are seen traveling in a vehicle alongside the principal, and they are heading to the Tianlin mountain range. Chen expresses his concern about the training camp being located in the mountain range, but the principal urges him not to worry, saying a grandmaster is overseeing the camp so no beast will touch them. Apparently, the mountain range is connected to other cities, and there are monsters that are as strong as rank 7 grandmasters residing there. Basically, the beasts are always going at each other, and they are far more ferocious than beasts found elsewhere. Even a rank 2 martial artist would not want to carelessly set foot into the mountain range. As they drive through the road leading to the camp, the students can feel strange presences watching them, and they are not wrong because monsters are everywhere. Even though the competition is going to be tough, Suhong finds himself liking the whole idea of it. Upon arriving at the meeting point, they realize that several other students are already present. The students stare at them like vampires, and when Suhong realizes that his colleagues are about to be intimidated, he takes the lead and tells them to follow him. They confidently walk over to the temporary camp, and the official tells them that they have to wait there until everyone arrives. Even after everyone has arrived, there is still going to be an entrance examination that will be conducted. Suhong is surprised to hear this, but before he can ask more about the whole thing, the big boys and girls arrive at the camp. They arrive in luxurious vehicles with a convoy surrounding them. The redhead lady is Yao Yan, and she is a spirit reader. The dude in white is Lin Xinghe from the Lin family, and he likes to show off. The third dude is the city lord's son, Tan Tuo, and he has a 95% fire affinity. Suhong realizes that the trio is the pack of geniuses that Wu mentioned. Suhong is curious about them because he wants to see if they are truly geniuses or not. With everyone present, the official decides that it is time to lay out the rules of the training camp. He tells them that the training camp is located within the mountain range, and it is 30 kilometers away from where they are. Apparently, they have to hold a token before they can get access into the camp, and he reveals that these tokens have been embedded in certain beasts. Basically, they have 8 hours to hustle to the training camp, which is 30 kilometers away. Even though 8 hours seems more than enough for the distance, they have to consider the fact that they would face dangers on the way. Suhong, on the other hand, is not essentially worried because he believes that this provides the best chance for him to hunt down monsters as much as he wants, as long as he gets to the camp in 8 hours. One of the students asks the official what would happen if they ran into a beast that they can't handle. The official tells the dude to consider himself unlucky because he would be eliminated, but he lets them know that someone would come to save them. The students start to protest when they hear this because it is possible that the strong people would even get eliminated while the weak ones would pass by luck. The official berates them, telling them that life is unfair while making an analogy of someone who trained really hard, but death took him away at the last minute. He urges them to walk with caution if they don't want to encounter high-level beasts. However, he lets them know that only cowards move that way. One of the students agrees with him, telling his comrades who are scared to go die in a trash bin. One of them takes this up in anger and immediately tells the big mouth that he is going to beat him to a pulp. The official quickly informs them that fighting is not allowed within the camp, but once they get to the mountains, they are allowed to do whatever they want. He lets them know that they are free to steal tokens or just beat someone up because they don't like their face. When Suhong hears this, he realizes just how brutal the training camp is because they are encouraged to fight each other. With this, it is pretty obvious that more than half of the participants would be eliminated before they even reach the camp. Suddenly, it dawns on Suhong that he might actually get a ton of points if he decides to fight the dudes. The official shuts everyone up by telling them that it is time to move. He blows the whistle and everyone scatters into the woods. The two who had a beef with each other from before start to chase each other, and without wasting time, a fight ensues between them. The two exchange blows, but it appears that they are evenly matched. Meanwhile, Suhong is watching them from above, and he is not entirely impressed because he was expecting the so-called geniuses to be more fierce and powerful. He decides to use his time to hunt a few beasts instead of wasting his time on the participants. He is about to leave when he hears the two trash-talking poor people. This immediately changes his mind and he decides to beat them up for points. He grabs a stick and walks up to the two to tell them to stop fighting. Suhong suggests that they play with him instead, but the dude decides to insult him instead. The two tell him that they have no interest in playing with him but to beat him up. Suhong then tells them that they are getting it wrong because what he meant was that he wants them to gang up on him and beat him up. The dude in a blue uniform angrily dashes towards Suhong, but Suhong hits him so hard in the tummy that he is sent flying into the distance. The moment the other dude sees this, he realizes that something is wrong because the dude is supposed to be evenly matched with him, but Suhong just took him out in one single move. He's still thinking about this when Suhong makes his move and dashes toward him. He hits him really hard in the head with the stick to totally knock him out. After beating them up to a pulp, Suhong lets them know that it is their punishment for looking down on commoners like him. The guys in the control room are surprised when they see Suhong pop out of nowhere to one-shot the two. They ask their boss if the two are already considered to be eliminated, but he tells them that they haven't requested rescue, which means they are still in the game. Moments later, the two wake up, raging from being humiliated by Suhong. The two start making excuses like they would have won if they hadn't underestimated Suhong. Since they now have a common enemy, the two end up being friends so that they can get their revenge on Suhong. They grab the stick that he used to beat them up so that they can use it against him too. Meanwhile, Suhong is busy cutting through monsters. He runs into a bunch of wild boars that move aggressively in packs, and the moment they sight him, they dash towards him. However, Suhong easily cuts them down in one strike. After he is done wiping them out, he notices that he used to get dozens of martial Dao points for defeating just one martial practitioner, but ever since he leveled up and got stronger, the point rewards have been getting smaller and smaller. Suhong then remembers that he needs to get some tokens. He cuts inside the boars that he just defeated, but finds no tokens. He is surprised that all of the beasts he defeated had no tokens at all, which made him realize that the tokens are hidden inside higher-level beasts. 30 minutes later, Suhong realizes that he can't find low-level beasts, unlike when he first entered the forest. Just then, he runs into a rank 1 phantom night tiger. Without hesitation, Suhong slams his spear into the beast, knocking it flat to the ground before finishing it off with a powerful piercing into the head. By killing the tiger, Suhong earns 35 points, and he realizes that a rank 1 beast is basically too easy for him at this point. However, he can only hope that the tiger has a token hidden inside it. After rummaging through the beast's insides, Suhong finally finds a token, which confirms that the tokens are hidden inside high-level beasts. Since it took him 3 hours to run into a high-level beast, Suhong concludes that the deeper he goes into the mountain, the higher the beast's rank. At the same time, there are a few of them. Suhong figures out that earning low-level monsters will give him more points because there are a lot of them to hunt. Suhong basically switches to a quantity over quality situation, and since there are 5 hours left in the assessment, he decides to max out his mortal body progress. Suhong takes his hunting seriously as he ravages the forest, rooting out monsters like weeds. He fights a bulk load of monsters before finally running into a bear, which is a high-level beast, but he also defeats this monster relatively easily. He punches the bear into a tree before going after it like a maniac. All the beast sees is a scary man charging at him with an unforgivable punch. The punch is so powerful that it takes the life of the bear and even destroys the tree behind it. Suhong is pleased with his progress so far because after raising his mortal body to 60%, he can now kill a rank 1 mid-stage beast, relying solely on his physical strength. He notices that he has earned 254 martial Dao points already, which means he can max out his mortal body progress with 100 more points. Realizing that he has 3 hours left, Suhong decides to gather as many points as he can. Suddenly, he hears a strange noise in the distance, and this catches his attention. Suddenly, a giant golden beast appears right above him, leaving him to wonder what sort of beast it is. He has a faint idea of what beast it might be, and it is the legendary Golden Rock Beast King. He is staring the beast in the face when it unleashes its aura. Suhong is forced to hold onto his sword while his legs tremble just to make sure he doesn't get flung away by the shockwave coming from the beast flapping his aura. Suhong is forced to leap behind a rock just to escape the beast's terrifying aura. This immediately tells Suhong that he is still really weak because in recent times he's been cocky about his strength. However, this has given him a reality check because in front of the real deal, he is nothing but an ant. Suddenly, he notices a ball of light in the distance, and this light appears to be human. This human is a rank 7 Grandmaster, and his name is Qin Tianli. Qin tells the beast that he would like to borrow his territory in the meantime so he can leave. The beast replies, telling Qin that he never said he could use his territory in the first place. Since he is acting all tough, Qin tells the beast that he is just going to have to beat him into submission. Qin dashes toward the beast and punches him so hard that he screams out in pain, but the Grandmaster tells him to shut his mouth because he is not yet done with him. Qin delivers several painful blows to the beast's body to show him who is the boss. After he has beaten the beast to his satisfaction, Qin tells the bird to make himself scarce because he would not like to repeat his words. He tells the Beast King to vanish that instant because he is now taking over his land. The Beast King ends up running off while threatening a rematch, but Qin tells the beast to stop yapping. Qin then uses his overwhelming aura to communicate to the applicants, introducing himself while also revealing that he is in charge of the assessment. He assures them that they have nothing to worry about because he is going to protect them. Seeing just how powerful Qin is, Su-hong immediately raises his standard. Moments later, Qin returns to the camp, where the rest of the instructors are waiting to welcome him. They commend the Grandmaster for being so powerful that he beats up the Golden Rock Beast King, which is known for its formidable physical strength, into submission. Qin tells the group to stop flattering him and just come with him to the control room to see those who withstood the beast's aura. Upon entering the control room, they watch a playback of what happened when the beast unleashed its aura. Qin realizes that Tantuo was able to withstand the aura by maintaining his ground. Qin asks for his details, and one of the instructors reads out Tantuo's file. Qin is surprised to learn that Tantuo is the son of the city's lord who is always birthing trash. Qin cannot believe that the dude finally got to give birth to a talented kid in the long run. Singi, on the other hand, used his impressive footwork to escape the beast's aura, and according to reports, he has 96% affinity for the wind attribute. And for Zhao, who is a telekinetic user, she is able to withstand the beast's aura with her mental powers. After watching the trio, Qin realizes that they have incredible talents, but he wants to know if there is anyone else who has withstood the beast's aura. His assistant starts calling out names of those who actually managed to withstand the aura. After a long, boring list, the assistant tells Qin that the people she just mentioned all have Tier 1 strength, which is why they didn't lose consciousness against the beast's aura. Qin is not entirely impressed, since they are all from major families. He wants to know if there is anyone from a normal background who managed to withstand the beast's aura. His assistant tells him that the students from the regular schools are only at early stage Tier 1. She is about to start taking a deep dive into Star City High when Qin stops her, telling her that he's heard enough because the school doesn't really live up to its name. Suddenly, the other instructor notices Su-hong on the screen, taking out monsters. He had basically just endured the beast's aura, but he still had the energy to hunt beasts. The lady instructor decides to check him out, and she suddenly freezes in fear as she mentions that Su-hong is a freaking monster from Star City High. The other guy believes his colleague is overreacting, and he grabs the report from her to see what she is overreacting about. Just to look at the report, the dude suffers a brain freeze. Qin wonders why the two who are Tier 5 martial artists are shaking at the sight of a report. Qin decides to check out the report, but he also panics the moment he sees what Su-hong is capable of. In fact, he doesn't want to believe that Su-hong is a freaking human at this point. Su-hong basically has an affinity for all of the attributes, which makes him a different kind of monster entirely. In the report recommendation, everything Su-hong is capable of is included, and it is also noted that he is currently cultivating all 7 attributes. Excitement grips Qin because he wasn't expecting a talent like this to emerge from a rural area. Qin screams out in excitement, saying they have just hit the jackpot of the millennium. Just then, he mentions something that is totally weird. He points out that Su-hong's vitality is only 120 points, and for his talent, it is quite weird. The lady instructor then reminds Qin that Su-hong is cultivating the 7 attributes together. The man freaks out, saying this is why Su-hong is stuck, because even a god would be ruined by this. He wonders if Wu didn't explain how things work for him. Just then, an assistant shows up to tell them that the students have started to arrive. Qin rushes outside to inspect them, and just as expected, the 3 super geniuses are the first to get to the camp because they were able to get to the camp 6 hours after the exam started. Soon afterward, more applicants keep coming in, and with 30 minutes left, all the applicants have supposedly arrived at the camp except Su-hong. The other applicants believe that whoever hasn't shown their face with just 30 minutes left on the clock doesn't deserve to be in the training camp. Deep down, Qin is wondering why Su-hong hasn't shown his face just yet. Qin starts to get worried that the precious gem he just discovered is about to get lost again. Just when the clock is about to run down, Su-hong shows up in the distance. He was totally locked in on farming points that he lost track of time, and thanks to this, he is covered in blood and beast's insides from head to toe. When the other applicants see him, they start making fun of him, believing that he had it tough, which is why he appeared filthy. The 2 simpletons who wanted revenge on him also made it, but they decided to wait until the training camp to get their revenge on him. As the clock hits the 8-hour mark, the official gathers the applicants to tell them that whoever hasn't shown up at that point has failed the exam. Since they are all present, he figures out that it is time to explain the rules of the training camp to them. He reveals that there are several major facilities in the training camp, which are the gravity training room, the footwork training room, the beast combat, and the martial arts pavilion. He reveals that in the martial arts pavilion, one can exchange for martial arts, footwork techniques, pills, and weapons up to A rank. When Su-hong hears this, he concludes that coming to the training camp is actually the right choice. However, using any of these services requires them to spend their contribution points, which can only be earned one way. The only way to earn these contribution points is to pass the various training courses, and passing them with flying colors will earn extra rewards. Since it is already getting late, the official tells them that they are free to go and sleep, but they can also go train if they want. He tells the injured students to follow him to the dormitories, and Su-hong heads to the dormitory. Su-hong enters his room, and he is pleased to find out that it is a single room. which means he has his privacy with no one watching him as he cultivates. Suhong then gets on the bed as he prepares to max out his mortal body, since he now has enough martial points to do so. Suhong inputs all of the points into the slot, and this generates a lot of heat that almost turns him into lava, but in the end, he gets a successful evolution. Suhong feels so much power running through his body, but he manages to block it from going haywire. By the time he is done, Suhong can feel the intensity of the power and how good it feels. He checks the status window and realizes that he has been given a strength title, which is Overlord Body. This is believed to be the strongest physique in terms of strength, but since his spirit tier is currently 0%, he is confident that it means that the technique can still be upgraded. Suhong admits that the special physique is quite incredible, and he decides to test out just how much strength the Overlord skill has. Suhong grabs his spear to head out to training, but to his surprise, the spear snaps from a casual snap. Suhong sighs in pain because C-rank alloys are quite expensive, and he paid a big sum to get this. Suddenly, it dawns on him that he didn't actually buy it because he picked it up. He figures out that he would need to gather enough contribution points as soon as possible to exchange for an A-rank alloy spear. Suhong wonders just how many kilos he would be able to handle if he wears a weighted vest to earn contribution points. Meanwhile, at the warehouse, Tantuo is moving around with a 3-ton weighted vest, and he claims that it is even light. The other applicants are left in awe as Tantu shows how impressive he is. Basically, they have all the rights to be amazed because a normal Tier 1 martial artist can handle only a few hundred kilograms. Even Xiao and Xinghe admit that Tantuo's strength is something else. Even Qin and the others who are watching from the control room are impressed by his brute strength. The lady assistant then asks Qin when they are supposed to find Suhong to explain the dangers of cultivating the 7 attributes to him. Qin then replies that they can't be direct because geniuses are proud, and telling him directly will only backfire. Qin believes that the way forward is to use certain methods to make him realize that his path is wrong, so he can willingly give it up himself. Qing then turns to the other guy, asking him if the other martial artists who will carry out the night raid have been assembled. The dude replies that it is going to take a bit more time because it is a bit of a tussle to assign personnel to match the varying combat strengths of the students. He reminds Qin that they just finished an assessment, and if they face a night raid immediately, they would definitely lose their cool. However, Qin tells the dude to arrange a late Tier 1 martial artist for Suhong because he wants him to be completely crushed and defeated. Once Suhong has been beaten up, he plans to explain the disadvantages of simultaneously cultivating 7 techniques to him so he can obediently listen to him. The assistants are worried that this might cause Suhong's Dao to shatter because his spirit is low, but Qin doesn't see it the way they do. He argues that he is doing to help Suhong, and if his Dao heart shatters, it just means that he is trash. Later that night, Suhong steps out of his room and he sees a bunch of applicants who are following Tantuo because he is entering the gravity room to train. Since everyone has gone to watch Tantuo, Suhong has the warehouse to himself. Inside a carton is a scoring bracelet that every applicant is required to have. He picks one up and wears it before heading to where the weighted vests are located. He realizes that the heaviest vest in the room is rated 10 tons, leaving him shocked and completely blown away. He wonders what it is made of and who the hell would wear something like that. He tries to wear it, but realizes that it is too heavy for him. Even though he might be able to wear it, it is going to affect him drastically. Suhong then proceeds to wear a 5-ton weighted vest, which seems very light on him. He runs around the room to test it out, and he realizes that it is the best for him. However, he is curious to know what Tantuo and the others chose, and unknown to him, he is far superior to them. He is convinced that they are stronger than him, and he decides to go and check out their training session because he hopes that he can pick up 1 or 2 experiences. Meanwhile, the other applicants are doting on Tantuo because he went into the gravity room with a 3-ton vest. He also set the gravity to 2x, which means he is currently playing around with 6 tons. Although he is struggling with it, it is still quite impressive to the applicants. When Suhong learns about Tantuo's vest, he realizes that he basically has a misunderstanding about the toughness of the Overlord's body. Just then, Chen and Tu show up to ask Suhong why he is not entering the gravity room. The two express their worries, saying they are just going to be embarrassed if they enter because those they are competing against are insanely strong. Since they are all scared, Suhong decides to enter the room. The other applicants are surprised to see Suhong stepping into the room, and they believe that he has a loose screw in the head. Some even assume that he is not wearing a weighted vest, and this is thanks to the jacket on him. Everyone keeps saying trash about him, but he just keeps mute and heads into the gravity room. Basically, gravity rooms require a lot of money to build, which is why it is only available to noble families. Since Suhong can get his hands on one for free, he is not about to let it pass. Since he is wearing a 5-ton vest, setting the gravity to 2x will make it difficult for him because it would be 10 tons. Suhong plans to last longer in the gravity room, and he decides to set it to 1.5. Even this still feels so heavy that Suhong wants to lose his footing. He strains in pain while the other applicants make fun of him, saying he isn't wearing a vest but still set the gravity to 1.5 times. The applicants then remember that Suhong was the last to arrive that day, so they assume that he is pretty weak. Instead of running around to show off, Su-hong decides to sit there and cultivate this technique under the crushing weight. 2 hours after this, he has been able to level up the other attributes except for thunder and fire. In addition, his vitality also increased from 126 to 130. Su-hong is impressed by this, and he realizes the other rooms would also have something nice for them, because the gravity room just gave him some points. Su-hong then struggles to stand up, and when he finally stands up, the applicants who are still watching make fun of him for being so trashy. Just then, Su-hong takes off his jacket because he is dying of heat, and this is when the two mocking him know that he is wearing a weighted vest. However, they still think he is a loser because there is no tag on the vest, which makes them believe that it is not more than 500 kilograms at most. Some believe that he might actually be strong, but they are convinced that he is still not as strong as Tantuo. Not long after this, Tantuo steps out of the gravity room and the applicants flock over to him to worship him. Tantuo walks out, totally exhausted from the 2 hours he spent inside the gravity room. Tantuo then drops the weighted vest and he flexes his body muscles to the applicants watching. Singi then walks over to Tantuo, admitting that he is number one when it comes to pure strength, but urges him to come to the agility room where he can show him who the boss is. Tantuo admits that he has nothing to stand against Singi when it comes to agility, and this is thanks to his wind attribute. Su-hong hears them talk about A-rank movement techniques, and he decides to go check Singi out. Su-hong then joins the others to watch Singi display his A-rank movement technique, Flying Swan Cloud. In fact, they are more blown away that Singi set the difficulty to the max. The way he is moving with the technique leaves the applicants in awe. Singi is so fluid with the technique that petals even sprang out of nowhere. Su-hong, on the other hand, immediately registers the technique in his archive. Without wasting time, he starts to follow the movement, and when the applicants see this, they start to mock him, asking him what he thinks he is doing. They tease Su-hong, telling him that there is no way he can learn the flying swan technique just by looking at it. Su-hong ignores them and continues practicing his movement, and while he is doing this, his mastery level keeps increasing. In no time, the system informs him that he has learned the technique, so he has officially entered the beginner stage. Su-hong is glad that he finally learned an A-rank technique. However, he has to admit that the technique is too flashy, which makes it embarrassing to carry out. Since he has never seen the normal version before, he can only copy what Singi displayed. Su-hong then returns to reality, and since he has learned the technique, he figures out that there is no need for him to enter the agility room. Su-hong thinks of heading to the fierce beast room to hunt beasts, so he can earn martial arts points to boost his vitality. Just then, Su-hong notices that the applicants are staring at him. He turns around to hear them talk about how super flashy his moves are, and this is when he realizes that he might have actually done the technique in the same flashy way as Singi. Su-hong immediately dashes off because he realizes that Singi can't be his mentor when it comes to movement techniques. As he leaves the scene, he notices that someone might be following him, and he turns out to be right because the two Vendetta twins are still looking to teach him a lesson. Since he is heading to the fierce beast room, they plan to block the door and beat the crap out of him when he comes out. At the same time, Xiao and Tantuo appear to be challenging each other on who can kill the most beasts. Su-hong arrives there to find the two arguing, and since he has never seen a telekinesis user fight before, he decides to take a look before going to hunt his own fierce beasts. Xiao steps into the room, and to Su-hong's shock, she starts to float in the air. Since it is only a method that grandmasters possess, Su-hong realizes that being able to do this is due to the fact that she is a psychokinetic. As if this is not enough, Su-hong opens his mouth in shock when he sees Xiao take down monsters with light beams. One beast tries to launch a surprise attack on Xiao from behind, but she easily grabs the beast with her powers. With the beast in place, she cuts it down mercilessly with her light beams. Su-hong finally understands that the light beams are freaking daggers. With everything Su-hong has seen Xiao do, he finally understands why psychokinetic users are damn strong. Xiao runs into a giant python, and Xiao conjures a large light sword which she uses to split the snake in half by hurling it at the snake. This further leaves a mark of shock on Su-hong because he doesn't remember the girl holding a weapon before. In addition, he knows that such a big weapon would weigh a lot, which means she is able to do this because psychokinetics are crazy humans. Singi informs the other applicants that what they are witnessing is a martial art that is exclusive to psychokinetics, and it is as high as A rank. The other applicants are surprised to hear this because this is the first time they have heard of such. The applicants ask him how he knows all of these, while asking him if Tantuo has an A-rank skill too. Singi confirms this, and the applicants freak out because they already consider him a maniac. Since the geniuses all have high training techniques, Su-hong realizes that the training camp is packed with good martial arts. He is just glad that he came to the right place. Just then, Su-hong checks on Tantuo, but to his surprise, he is not using any martial arts while beating down monsters. Su-hong quickly realizes that the dude is not even ready to unveil his trump card. Nonetheless, he is confident that he is going to find a way to learn from Tantuo later. He is eager to be a psychokinetic, but his spiritual power is low. Since one needs a spiritual power of over 100 points, he realizes that he is still 73 short. With the amount of points that he needs for what he wants, Su-hong decides within himself that he is going to challenge the entire area, which is going to cause him to go on a killing spree. Su-hong then proceeds into the room, and his two vendetta stalkers decide to stay outside, waiting to teach him a lesson. However, their entire system goes haywire when they see the number of scary beasts that Su-hong wants to challenge himself with. The two assume that Su-hong has seriously lost his mind because challenging a dozen fierce beasts is asking for death. The two panic, and they start thinking of even getting an instructor to save Su-hong. However, to them, it is too late for Su-hong because they are convinced he is going to be torn to shreds by the monsters. Now in the beast's room, Su-hong teases the monsters, causing them to rush at him at the same time. Su-hong leaps backward to dodge the initial attack from the enemies before lunging toward them. He punches the monsters so hard that their insides are torn apart. The Vendetta twins are left speechless because Su-hong is tearing apart monsters that even mid-grade martial arts would find really hard to do. Just then, one of them notices that Su-hong is using a familiar footwork, and it then dawns on them that he has already copied Singyi's technique, which he is now using. The two stars are arguing because it is not possible for them. The two soon accept reality and realize that Su-hong is an insane talent to have been able to copy the technique at once. One of them immediately suggests that they forget about their vendetta mission, and his colleague doesn't even object to this. Suddenly the dude wants to rethink his decision, but his friend points to what Su-hong just did inside the training room. They stare into the distance to see that Su-hong has taken down all of the beasts in just a few minutes. Su-hong, on the other hand, is checking out the points that were given to him after defeating such high-level beasts. He realizes that it is not that much, which confirms his assumption that the stronger he is, the harder it is for him to accumulate points. Before he can even get a minute of rest, more monsters troop out from their hiding place, and Su-hong quickly gets back on his feet because he doesn't have the luxury of resting. One of the monsters thinks it is wise to launch a surprise attack on Su-hong from behind, but Su-hong reacts to this really quickly and punches the monster into the afterlife. Su-hong unleashes a terrifying aura that gives the beasts a rethink, but Su-hong is not about to give them second chances because he needs their Dao values. Su-hong goes after them, wiping out the beasts without mercy. On the outside, the Vendetta finally decides that it would be good for them to turn into the Forgiving Twins. The two figure out that it might be bad for them if Su-hong meets them there. The two quickly walk away, and they soon walk past the battle room where the other geniuses are using it. One of their colleagues is surprised that they are back already. He asks about their revenge mission, but the two can only answer nervously. Deep down, the two are happy that they still have their heads on their necks. Just then, Xiao and Tantuo stepped out of the beast room, and Tantuo acquired 280 points in total, while Xiao got 270 points. Their usual followers start to praise them while counting the number of monsters that they have killed. As for their weighted vest contributions, Tantuo has 100 points, while Xiao has just 50. This means a great deal to their followers, whose highest is 30 points. Just then, they start talking about how powerful the geniuses are because of the number of beasts that they have defeated. However, the Forgiving Twins are the only ones who know that there is a special monster in the training camp that surpasses the trio. 1 hour later, Su-hong has left a mountain of corpses in the room, and he is already getting exhausted. However, he hasn't even reached his target point. Nonetheless, he checks the training wristwatch and realizes that he was awarded 700 points. Without hesitation, Su-hong heads to the martial arts pavilion. Upon arriving at the pavilion, Su-hong makes his way to the receptionist. He takes a journal to the table to read the menu. He is surprised to see just how expensive the A-rank skills are. The attendant then asks him if he is ready to make his order. Deep down, the attendant is not interested in attending to Su-hong because she believes that he is going to be broke. When Su-hong finally makes the decision, he tells the lady that he wants the spirit gathering pills. He asks the attendant if it is true that they help to boost the spirit. She confirms this, but lets Su-hong know that it only takes effect once. Su-hong quickly orders the Tier 4 spirit gathering pill, and the attendant is shocked when he shows her his points. The attendant cannot believe her eyes, and just like a good girl that she is, she presents the pill to Su-hong. Su-hong thanks the lady and asks her if she has any alloy spears that he can buy. Su-hong ends up exhausting all of his points when he buys the bears. It turns out that the one Su-hong bought is the C-rank fire dual attribute spear. Su-hong then realizes that his stats have improved a bit, but he still needs Dao points for what he plans to do. Su-hong then opens the box given to him by the attendant to take out the pill sitting inside. He swallows the pill, and in no time he feels the changes in his body. With determination, he reveals that he is going to become a spirit master. With the pill's effect kicking into place, Su-hong can feel all the exhausted nerves in his body get soothed. In addition, his mind has become really clear, giving him the ability to sense everything going on around him. By the time the pill is done with its work, Su-hong is surprised to see that it actually boosted his spiritual power by 24 points. He calculates the martial points that he currently has and realizes that even if he uses all of them, he would still be 0.5% short of what he needs. To get the 0.5%, all he needs is 5 martial points. which is equivalent to 1 beast that is defeated. With this, Su-hong wishes that he had killed just 1 more beast. Nonetheless, he can't regret what is already gone, and he decides to rest so he can take care of it the next day. Meanwhile, at the training camp warehouse, the instructors who are going to be participating in the raid have been gathered. They are given leaflets to look at the applicants that are assigned to them. While others are getting assigned to the geniuses of the camp, one particular dude finds out that he is stuck with Su-hong, who has just 123 vitality points. Even his friends ask him why he was assigned someone who is as trashy as Su-hong. One believes that Chin made a mistake, but Chin enters the room at the right time to let them know that it was no mistake. The dude goes ahead to challenge Chin's decision, saying the dude is trash. However, Chin lets him know that Su-hong is not as simple as he seems because his combat power is on par with that of advanced stage martial artists. The group is shocked when they hear this because they don't expect someone who has just over 100 vitality points to be able to challenge a proper martial artist. Chin then tells the officer attached to Su-hong that he's going to understand what he is saying by the time he fights him. The dude still complains about the whole task, forcing him to slap him on the head. He tells him to go all out from the beginning because he doesn't want Su-hong to retain any doubt that he is strong. The dude still can't believe that he is expected to fight such a weak child. He even asks Chin if he has a beef with Su-hong, while telling him that he's not going to be held responsible if he cripples him. Chin smiles when he hears this, as he urges the dude to beat Su-hong to a pulp so he can get a reward. The dude agrees to this, and deep down, he can't wait to deal with Su-hong. Moments later, the raiders make their way to the dormitories to perform drills. Su-hong soon hears chaos in the distance, and while he is still thinking about this, the door is cut open by the man set upon him. He almost gets cut in half by the invader's sharp sword, but he vanishes before the strike happens. Su-hong quickly grabs his spear, and a fight ensues between the two, while Su-hong is wondering just how strong the instructor, Jin-feng, is. Jin-feng boasts about his strength, telling Su-hong to count himself unlucky for running into him, and this is when Su-hong realizes that the dude is from the myriad races. Su-hong smiles because this is exactly what he is looking for. Su-hong figures out that he would be able to gather the last 5 martial arts points to become a telekinetic if he defeats Jin-feng. Jin-feng is shocked when he realizes that Su-hong is actually taking up a fighting pose against him, leaving him to wonder if he has gone out of his mind totally. Their weapons clash, and this is when Jin-feng realizes that Su-hong's strength is crazy. In fact, his combat strength is on par with an advanced stage 1, and Jin-feng confirms with this that his boss wasn't lying. Suddenly he notices that there is something else because a stage 1 martial artist shouldn't have the kind of power that Su-hong currently has. On the other hand, Su-hong is doing his best since he hasn't fought an advanced class before. He swings his spear with an aura around it, causing Jin-feng to leap back in fear. He starts to regret his actions because he has realized that Su-hong is no joke. Nonetheless, Jin-feng is an experienced martial artist, and he knows what a fight between them entails. Jin-feng then unleashes his fire attribute martial arts, which envelopes his sword in purple fire. Su-hong is actually blown away by this, since it is his first time seeing one. Jin-feng then lunges towards Su-hong while taunting him, asking him how he plans to block his powerful attack called the Flaming Slash. Unknown to him, Su-hong has his own idea, and he covers himself in lightning before blocking Jin-feng's attack, knocking him backwards. The wall behind Jin-feng is shattered from Su-hong's block, leaving Jin-feng sweating like a goat. He can't believe that Su-hong just blocked his fire martial art by externalizing lightning, and this is when he admits that Su-hong is a terrifying, talented kid. However, he still teases him, telling him that it appears that he is bad when it comes to lightning attribute spearmanship because he wouldn't have been able to easily defeat him. Su-hong admits that he actually doesn't, but he decides to do something crazier by mixing 2 attributes, which are lightning and fire. Jin-feng starts shitting his pants because he never thought an attribute fusion was possible, but Su-hong is basically doing it with ease right in front of him. Jin-feng is left totally stunned because he has always believed that attribute fusion is nothing but a myth. He is still panicking when Su-hong leaps toward him with a powerful attack, and Jin-feng tries to uphold his honor by launching a counterstrike. However, Su-hong's power easily overwhelms him and knocks him through the wall, sending him crashing to the ground. Since he has just defeated Jin-feng, Su-hong is given 7 points, and Su-hong smiles because Jin-feng just gifted him the points he needs to advance to a telekinetic. Some seconds earlier, Chin and the lady martial artist are outside the dorm, waiting for a report. Chin believes that Su-hong should be getting a beating of his life already, and after this he would be able to persuade him to stop pursuing multiple guiding techniques to focus on one. This is when Jin-feng is sent through the wall and he crashes right in front of the Grandmaster. He is knocked out totally, and his face is battered from excessive beating. The lady and the Grandmaster are left in complete shock because Su-hong just defeated Jin-feng with ease. At the same time, the 3 geniuses defeated their opponents, sending them crashing through the wall just like Su-hong did. The trio steps out of the broken wall, telling the Grandmaster that he should have sent stronger opponents because these ones are freaking weak. Tantuo then notices that there are 4 defeated instructors on the ground, and the person who defeated the 4th one even finished faster than them. Singhee assumes that Jin Feng is weak, which is why he lost to his opponent. However, the lady martial artist knows that Jin Feng is actually the strongest among these four. Chin is not surprised by the three geniuses pulling off a win, but he knows that Su-hong is an early-stage rank 1 martial artist, which means facing a tier 2 opponent should be tough, but he even finished faster than the three geniuses. He wonders how he could have done it, and suddenly, an official comes running over to tell Chin that something has just happened. Chin assumes that a student was killed, and he tells the dude that it is quite usual. However, the official tells Chin that it is about Su-hong using attribute fusion when he was fighting Jin Feng. Chin initially counts this as nothing serious, but the moment it rings in his brain, he grabs the official, asking him if he is serious. The dude reveals that Su-hong actually used thunder and fire to defeat Jin Feng. The dude mentions that it is something he saw on the screen, but he is free to ask Jin Feng if he thinks he is lying. Jin Feng manages to come back to life to tell Chin that Su-hong really used attribute fusion. The Grandmaster freaks out again, as he reveals that the only genius in the world who was able to carry out attribute fusion actually spent 12 years on it, but Su-hong has been practicing this just for a month. The Grandmaster starts feeling hyper about the whole thing, and he boasts about how Su-hong is a celestial prodigy that descended to Earth in human form. The lady then asks Chin if attribute fusion is really powerful, as he is saying it. Chin then explains to her that the first person to do it was able to suppress 2 Tier 2 fighters while he was still in Tier 1. The lady then asks why it is not talked about enough, and Chin mentions that research shows that carrying out the technique is extremely difficult, and it also carries a risk of crippling one's cultivation. He tells them that it is basically useless because one would be stuck in Tier 1 for life. However, he is blown away by how Su-hong was able to succeed in just 1 month, which shows just how crazy his level of comprehension is. In fact, he possesses all of the attributes, which means it would be overwhelming if he could combine all of them. He believes that Su-hong has what it takes to suppress the emperors of the myriad races with a single strike. His assistants tell him to chill out because he is already over-exaggerating the whole thing, because fusing 2 is difficult as it is. Just then, Chin tells the two to pardon his initial excitement and says he can't allow Su-hong to cultivate all 7 because he would be stuck at a 3 attribute fusion, which would be bad. Just then, the dude mentions that Su-hong was able to overwhelm Jin Feng with his overwhelming strength, and the Grandmaster berates him for not mentioning something that important earlier on. The trio is left in shock because Su-hong has just over 100 vital blood points, but he was able to overwhelm Jin Feng, who has 500. Chin then tells them that Su-hong's physique might be something legendary, and he decides that a sparring match is going to be held the next day because he wants a full assessment of Su-hong's combat strength and vital blood. He tells the two to bring the geniuses, Tantuo and the rest, to fight Su-hong because he wants to see what would happen when a freak like Su-hong clashes with the top geniuses of the training camp.